G'day, it's Donna from Clever Crafters, and thank you for joining me again. Today we're going to be making this really cute little Christmas card, and out of scraps because I love it. So we've started with here a piece of cardboard. Actually, it's just quite thin card stock that I have put a piece of double-sided tape on, you know, the wide tape, cut it from an A4 piece. And I'm just going to line it up because I want to make sure that these all line up with the edge of the card base that I'm putting it onto. So I've put it on my scoring pad, you can see here, and I'm just lining all of the pieces up. So I'm just going to put them in an order that I wanted. So the silver, the light blue, the darker blue, the darkest blue, etc., etc. You can see that all I've done is I've just pulled back a little bit of the release paper so I can just stick it at one end. This means that if I make a mistake, it's easy to fix. It's only a small amount. And quite often it's better to start that way. So now that I have them all laid down, I am simply just going to pull that backing paper off and gently put down my strips of cardstock. Now, this cardstock is all 1/4-inch strips, and I've just cut them out of scraps, you know, bits and pieces that I've had left over. So, but I wanted it to have kind of like a wintry, you know, stormy sky type of feel about it. So that's what I've done here, just straightening those bits and pieces up. And I'm going to cut the sticky part off, and I'm cutting it. Now, there's 7 colors here, so that makes it 1.75 inches because there's 7 pieces at 1/4 inch each. That's hard to say actually. And I've cut 2 squares that are 1.75 by 1.75. Now I'm actually cutting, you can see here that I cut one of the squares diagonally. So I lined up from corner to corner on the edge of my blade. It's a little bit difficult to see, I know, but that's what I've done. And then each of those triangles, I'm cutting again into smaller triangles. So, and I'm going to do it with the other piece so you can see that's better. I've moved my color up a bit there, my Tim Holtz cutter. And so you can see those 4 little squares. So there's the other little piece. Remember, it's 1 3/4 inch by 1 3/4 inch square. And as I said, I've got 7 colors. So if you wanted 8 colors, then you would make it 2 inches by 2 inches. Or if you wanted, you know, 6 colors, you would make it 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch. Yeah, that's how it would work. Okay, so now you can see that I've just put it on one of my little cutting mats here that have a grid on it, and I'm just kind of lining it up. Yep, that's pretty good. That's the masking tape. So the masking tape, I didn't want it to stick, so I did actually stick it on my skirt and pull it off a couple of times first to de-tack it a bit. And you can see that when you can flip it over, you can see how to line it up nice and evenly, which is what I'm doing there. Just a couple of little adjustments. Excellent. So now I'm taking 2 of the other pieces and I'm going to stick them on. So I kind of went over that first part quickly where I was lining them up. There's lots of different designs that you can do, the different ways that you put this together in that first part. So this is just the design I chose and the way that I wanted to put it together. But when you get it and you're doing it yourself, you'll be able to have a play and make all sorts of different designs out of these pieces. So now I'm just getting this other piece of masking tape, putting it across, and I'm going to add my last 2 pieces. And you can see that now I've rejoined them up to make one big square. And I like to leave a little bit of a gap because just in case you cut it a little bit crooked, or you know, sometimes things, no matter how careful you are, just don't line up properly. So adding that little bit of gap between all of the pieces gives you a little bit of grace. All right, so now we get to the really fun part. I'm using double-sided foam tape, and I really covered it. I didn't want to get this to get wrecked through the post, so I really covered it well with the double-sided tape. I discovered in a later one that I made that it's much easier to use craft foam, you know, the fun foam, and just cut it into the triangles, because not only did you have to pull all of the backing off to stick this on, then I had to pull them all off so I could stick it on my card base. So, and that's what I'm doing here. Anyway, I am not going to make you watch all of this. just skip through with the magic of video through to the last bit. Now, you can line this up and, use a T-ruler, but I decided just to eyeball it in this occasion. I'm normally very precise and I like to use the T-ruler. I just thought, let's just run with it. All right, I'm slowly and carefully removing my masking tape, and look, there's my design. It came together beautifully. It was very exciting that moment. Now I've got this lovely big snowflake. I cut out 3 or 4 of those out of white cardstock, and I'm just now gluing that into place on the front of my card so I can still see my colors and that lovely geometric design underneath. Put a little bit of pressure on it. Now I'm adding some Wink of Stella. Now their Christmas cards are just not Christmas cards without a bit of bling and a little bit of, that lovely shimmery glitter. So the Wink of Stella is beautiful, and now I'm adding some lovely little diamantes all around, or flat backed gems actually they are, all around the edges of my snowflake. And whoa, there we go. It's looking lovely. All I did after that was add some greeting down the bottom that you would have seen with the first shot, but that's our card pretty much all done. So you don't just have to do this with the colors that I've used here. I've got a couple of other samples here that I've used where I've used it in rainbow shades, but it's exactly the same process. Once again, I thank you for joining me today, and I really love having you come to visit. I hope you were able to learn something from this nice, simple and really effective card, and I look forward to catching up with you next time. Bye.